to this short video on how to fine-tune your audio in Premiere Pro. So we already know how to automatically adjust or raise or lower. Now we're going to get into some of the finer details, getting rid of some of the things that we don't want in the audio, or plosives. If people come up plosives with their P's and they pop their P's, we want to make sure we know how to eliminate or reduce those audio errors. With that, friends, let's get started.
So we're looking at how we can fine-tune the audio. One of the first shortcuts that I want to show you today is how we can get from clip to clip. You can see here my playhead is not at a clip. Well, I know I can drag it to and it'll play the clip, but the shortcut is the up and down arrows. If you hit the down arrow, it'll move to the next clip in your sequence. Down arrow. Hitting the down arrow again will move me to the end of that clip. Hitting it again will move me to the next clip, and so on and so forth. So it's a way, up and down arrows. Up moves me towards the beginning of the sequence. Down arrow moves me away from the beginning of the sequence. So you can easily jump from clip to clip to clip using the up and down arrows. That was just a quick little shortcut. So what I want to look at now is how we can fine-tune the audio. One of the first things that we're going to do is make sure that you have your waveform visible. It might be all scrunched up like this. Hover your mouse in between this little line and the icon will switch to what you see there. Left click your mouse, drag it down, and it expands your waveform out. If you want it to be even larger, you can hover between the video and audio tracks, this gray line, and left click, drag it up, left click, drag it down. So now you can see your waveform very large. And the reason that we want to do that is we want to look at this center line. And that center line is going to help me adjust my audio.
Getting rid of some of the...
So I want to get rid of that inhaled breath. So I'm going to zoom in on that. Plus, 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 zooms in. And you can see this part is the that we want to get rid of. So how I'm going to do that, I'm going to use what I call the audio tabletop method. I'm going to hold the control button or command button on a Mac and left click with my mouse. It creates this little icon. Over here at the end of where I want to fix up the audio, I'm going to do it again. Control click. So now I have these 2 points. They're keyframes in my sequence, but I'm applying the keyframes in the sequence as opposed to in effect panels. Just like keyframes, I'm going to add a second one. Add a second one. This is now telling me between keyframe 1 and keyframe 2, I want you to do something. What do I want you to do? I want you to go silent. So it starts off loud.
Things that we don't want.
And goes silent. Let me redo that. So I'm just doing undo. All right, Control Z, undo. Click 1 keyframe and everything adjusts. So no, we don't want that. Right. Click another keyframe. Now this one I can move and it moves everything. No, that's not what I want. If I put a third one in, then I get this little valley. And we're going to use that in a minute. And I can slide this around using my mouse left or right. But if I want a tabletop, remember, from keyframe to keyframe, your Premiere Pro says from keyframe 1, begin to do something. What do I want you to do? Well, I want you to start going silent, 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 silent. From keyframe 2 to 3, I want you to do something else. Start going louder, 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 louder. That's not what I want. What I want is it to be silent. So I'm going to drag this keyframe over, and I'm going to create a new one. Again, Control click, and then I can put this wherever I want. Now I want it down there. And that's why I call it the tabletop method, because it goes silent, stays silent, goes back loud again. Let's have a little listen.
The things that we don't want in.
Now, I'll be honest. I wouldn't use this method with this particular video clip because it looks goofy. If you watch me up here,
The things that we.
you can see there's something not right there, right? But I use that a lot with these screencasts, because during these screencasts, I take breaths, and I don't necessarily want you to hear that. So I tabletop that out. Now we're going to use the same method to get rid of plosives. Plosives are when those P's pop. You want to get rid of those in Premiere Pro. So let's have a little listen to the live material.
Plosives.
So it's right there. So we're zooming in. So you can see right here's where I pop my P, and we want to fix that audio. So I'm going to create keyframe 1. Over here, I'm going to create keyframe 2. And then in the middle, I'm going to create keyframe 3. Do you remember how to do keyframes? That's right. Control and left click on your mouse. I'm going to drag this one down. Again, I'm just holding control and I drag it down. I'm going to try around 20 decibels. And let's have a little listen.
Plosives.
Yeah, it's not bad. Listen again.
Plosives.
Yeah, it's still a little bit loud.
Slow.
So I'm going to drag it down even a little bit more.
Plosives.
That's better.
Plosives. Plosives.
Still don't really like it. I'm going to move this one over there a little bit. Let's try it.
Plosives.
That's better.
If people come up.
Oh, there's another one. So I popped it again, and what we're going to have to do is control click, control click, control click, make my keyframes, drag this one down, and have a little listen.
Plosives with their P's and they pop.
Yep, there's another one. So every time that I'm popping my P's, I'm going to have to keyframe in, keyframe in, keyframe in, make my keyframes, drag this one down.
Pop. Their pop. Pop. Their P.
Can you tell the difference? Hopefully you can. But that's one way to fix audio. So we've got our tabletop method. Again, tabletop is where we've got 4 keyframes. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we adjust the tabletop. You see why I call it a tabletop? Because it comes up, stays like a tabletop, and goes back down again. So that one raises it up, stays hot for a little while, and then comes back down again. Now I don't want to do that. I'm going to do all those. So that was one method, the tabletop. So if you don't like the control click making keyframes in your sequence, you can always do it in effect controls. So come up here to effect controls. Remember, if you don't have effect controls open, you're going to go to Windows, effect controls, and it will populate over here. What I'm going to look at now is the volume. Remember, all of this stuff was what we used to get rid of the background noise. So I can make keyframes like I normally would. I've got my watch set. It says, pay attention to what I want you to do, Premiere Pro. What I want you to do? Well, from this point, I'm going to play it forward a little bit. I'm going to scrub forward to right before I start to get really loud. Go another keyframe, but here I want you to be down at 30 decibels. And you can see that it shrunk it down, just like I would have done if I used the keyframes down in the sequence. Way too soft. That.
Issues or audio issues.
Yeah, so 30 decibels is way too little. So what I'm going to do is go back to that last keyframe and adjust it. I know that I could manually slide this around until I get to my keyframe, but another little shortcut, this little arrow clicks me to the previous keyframe. There I'm at. There I go. And I'm at negative 30. That was too much. Let's try negative 15. Let's see what that sounds like.
Lighting issues or audio issues.
A little bit too soft. Back to the previous keyframe. I'm going to make this one negative 8.
Lighting issues or audio issues.
That's pretty close, actually. Still, I think a little too quiet. So I'm going to go negative 4.
Lighting issues or audio issues that may come up.
Nice. Okay, so that was all while I was loud. Now I need to come back out of my tabletop, so I'm going to create another keyframe. Now this next part is really, really quiet. So what I want to do is from here is I want to come up, and I want to raise my level up to positive something. I'm going to try positive 15 to start. Now you can see my volume decreased, stayed low for a while, and now comes back up for the second part. And it gives me the right volume. You can see the background noise is really enhanced here, and that's part of the game. There's no real good way to get rid of that. So when we tell you to set up your sound conditions while filming to be ideal, you really want to try to take advantage of that. Because hopefully you're getting an idea that it is way more difficult to fix up bad audio in post than to spend some time and make sure that you've got your audio conditions set up well while you are filming. All right, I just want to recap what's happening with these keyframes to make sure that everyone understands. Here in the sequence, you can see visually that the keyframe is ducking down low, staying at a low volume for a little while. Next keyframe says, do something else. I want you to raise up high and then stay high for the end of the clip. If I go and look at my effect controls, these are the keyframes. The keyframe corresponds to start going softer. From the beginning all the way to that keyframe, it said stay at a constant volume of 0 decibels. Now, between this frame and the next frame, decreased down to negative 4. from the second keyframe to third keyframe, stay at -4.
Issues that may come up.
And then between keyframes 3 and 4, you can see the decibels climbed up from -4 to 15. And now for the rest of the clip, the volume level will stay at 15 decibels.
Wow, you are funny.
Okay. I know that some of you are going to ask, well, wait, how did you get that full screen picture of effect controls? Or how do you get a full screen picture of your preview window? Or how do you get a full screen picture of your sequence? Well, what you're going to do is use the tilde button. The tilde button hides lots of places on different keyboards. On most of them, it's next to the 1. It's a little squiggly line, and it looks like this. It's the tilde button, but it's all over the place on different keyboards, so you're going to have to find where yours is. And what the tilde button does is it brings a full screen up for wherever your mouse is. So you can see my sequence is highlighted right now. If I put my mouse over the program window and hit tilde, the program window becomes full screen, not what was highlighted. Now my program is active, but if I hover over the effect controls and hit tilde, I get a full screen of the effect controls. So it's a way to bring up a full screen image. Tilde again brings you back out of the full screen. I will often use it when I'm previewing my program or when I want to look at my effect controls, my keyframes, and move them around a little bit. So it just gives me a little bit more space to work with. All right, now we know how to completely fix our audio up.
So there you have it. We saw how to create audio tabletops so that we can lower volume in specific places, how we can get rid of the plosives in other places, and just go in and fine-tune our audio track by hand. That's all for this episode. We'll see you in the next one.